Guest.
Mystery guest. Hi everyone, it's Lee White, your transformational coach, and I'm coming to you live this afternoon. Very, very excited to be introducing you to my dear friend and definitely one of my inspirations, Maria Arena.
Hi.
And Maria is a life coach. She's a trained life coach that has been working for many, many years with people who have experienced disadvantage and have been trying to create a starting point in their lives. Maybe they've been jobless or homeless and just really getting to point zero to take off from there. And Maria's also worked with women who have also been trying to get to ground zero, who have experienced domestic violence or been turning to living in a refuge for a period of time. And Maria has extensive experience working with people rebuilding their lives. Is that a true representation?
Oh, I can't need to say anything else. Goodbye.
And hi Justine, nice to have you here with us. Thanks very much for joining us. I know it's a interesting time to be going live at this time of day, but you know what? We figured that it's afternoon tea time. We're going to catch lots of you having afternoon tea, and the reason that I was inspired to set up this live event and to invite Maria to come along today was because she is such a font of wisdom, and what she was dishing out a bit of that wisdom onto me recently last week when I was driving somewhere. We were talking, and we've always got so much in common, so much to talk about that I know is going to resonate with you all recently. And one of the points Maria was saying to me, I've got this a post for Facebook I really want to share with you, and I shared that in the event notice today, and you can only read half of the items on it. And what it is it's a list of, from another wise person, a list of the things to let go of right now. Now, I don't know why they don't teach this in schools. Maybe they will these days.
That's what we could do.
That's what we could do. And so while I was going along in my car, Maria started telling me about this post she wanted to send me for the group. We started talking about a few of them and a few of the things to let go of, and the conversation turned to the royals. And over to you, Maria. Do you remember that?
Well, yes, I do. And I am a lover of the royals. So you can imagine how in heaven I've been with having Harry and Meghan here. And I said to Lee when we were on the phone, I said, I just adore him, Harry, Prince Harry. First of all, for what he's doing for mental health, but I just love him anyway. And I said, and while I love her, I really could quietly, without telling anybody, scratch her eyes out so that I could jump in the plane and go back to the palace with him where I think I belong. So we were kind of joking about, because I found that quite powerful about comparing yourself to other people, because I often will sit down and think, oh, my girlfriend's got this devoted husband and he's so fabulous, and they've got a boat and a weekender, and they've got 5 of the most amazingly behaved children that are all lawyers and high achievers, and I think I am such a failure.
I know. But in reality, is it true?
Well, the thing is that when you just stop doing that, when you say, don't compare yourself, it's very free.
Yeah.
It's very, it is, because you're only comparing yourself to yourself then. So I found that one very...
Yeah, so that's it's
good.
on our list in front of us. It's comparing yourself to other people, and we can be so unrealistic, can't we? Because when we start comparing ourselves to the neighbour, and then it gets right up to the royals, and who has that life? And you don't stop yourself. It's social media and magazines and watching that stupid idiot box, the TV news. You're thinking it's normal. Part of you is thinking it's normal. I don't care how, spiritual we all are and all of that. We get sucked in. And it's such a big one. I know in their lives before I've talked about comparisonitis. It is the disease of our community. It really is. And, how do you think it makes people feel?
Well, I think it makes you feel inferior, because you'll always find somebody who's got more money, a more handsome husband, more successful children. And I think it takes us to one of the other points too, things to really let go of right now, because I think that can cause you to place your partner on an unrealistic pedestal.
Yeah.
So you can think that, well, Fred next door, look, he's at home at 4 o'clock every afternoon, and he takes the children to soccer. So I think that ties in with that one about letting go of that too.
It is, and you know, that thing of the standards.
Yeah,
That
and
we're
the perfect life.
Yeah, inflicting on others and ourselves.
Yeah.
And so we're never living up to.
And you're just in a constant state of unhappiness. You know, you wake up and you're miserable because, you know, what happened the night before or yesterday, or you're apprehensive about what's going to happen today with your kids. And right now with the HSC, how are my children doing? Are they going to get into this uni or that uni? And what if they don't get in anywhere?
Yeah.
You see it as a reflection of yourself.
Yeah, definitely take it 100% personally.
Yeah, you do.
It's such a burden, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think then we pass this on to our children. You know, we have this expectation, whether we say it or not, to them on a daily basis. They sense that there's an expectation of achievement.
And how many children have you got?
5 daughters.
5 daughters. Did it just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
That's right. And
Wow.
13 grandchildren.
13 grandchildren. And so over the years, you've seen a few HSCs.
Yes, I've got 2 granddaughters doing their HSC this year. Both got into early entry in uni. See what I mean? I'm boasting already. Now, you know, it doesn't really mean anything, but we, as a community, we kind of tend to put ourselves on the pedestal, and our children and our families and our backyards and everything. So we're our worst enemies at doing this stuff.
Do you think that's how we make sense of the world?
No, I think it's learnt behaviour.
Do you know, I love Maria. She never agrees. She's like my husband. They're so wise. They have got their own opinion. They will never try to just fit in with the conversation. And that's why it's so valuable, because, you know, so part of me feels like, oh, the brain must try to make sense of the world. That's why we're comparing and ranking and whatever. But it's really actually our egos just getting in the way.
Yeah, and I think it's learnt behaviour. I think we learn all these behaviours and traits at an early age, and then as an adolescent, and then I think some of us are very influenced what happens in our first jobs and in the workplace, how we're accepted, how we're seen upon, and what we have to do to fit in. I think a lot of that happens then.
What can you remember doing to fit in? That kind of thing.
I was very bad at that too.
As in trying to or not?
No, I wasn't interested at all in fitting in as a young child.
Sometimes I can remember changing. No, you know what? I'm definitely one of those people, and it's a real empathetic or empath, people-pleasing trait to be a bit of a chameleon, where you'll speak a certain way with this group of people and behave a certain way with that group of people. And, you know, we all do it a little bit. And when you start the workforce, definitely. It's actually partly necessary, isn't it? And
absolutely. And
that's
it's healthy.
Yeah.
And I think you're a completely different person at home to your parents than you are anywhere else.
Yeah.
And, you know, I say to my children, I don't want to know what you're doing. I don't want to know what you did when you were 16 and 17, because I don't want to know.
That's true.
You came home and told me you were going to mass every morning. That was fine by me. I didn't want to know where you went at night, because that was that person. And I think we are different people in different environments.
Yep. And I think that's so appropriate, because my kids don't want to know about what I might get up to, do
No,
they? I mean,
absolutely not.
So I think
My
you
kids
really
knew I was
nailed
doing
it.
this, they'd die.
And it's so true how it's okay to be putting on different faces for some people, isn't it? Because of your
absolutely.
relationship, and it's a respect thing.
And I think it makes you very good at what you do in life. I mean, if you're able to adjust to the environment that you're in at work, and then you're in with your managers, or then your clients, or like Lee said, I've worked a lot with women who have been homeless and have had to recreate themselves. Well, I can't walk in there with 4-inch heels and diamonds on, because how can I relate to them there? I think it's important that we learn how to function with a different face for different situations.
To relate, definitely.
Yeah.
So I remember from our list of the things to let go of right now, the one at the top got me, which was worrying about what has happened in the past. And, you know, we've all, I mean, even really young people worry about what happened yesterday or whatever, but over the years, you know, you accumulate quite a lot of things that you could be quite worried about. And Maria and I have a shared experience as well. We've both got, you know, plenty of colour in our stories, but we have a shared experience where we actually met, must be about 10 years ago, in a bereaved by suicide group. And that's where it kind of all began. And that's sort of, you know, those aspects of your life that, you know, you worry about a lot, and there's actually no end to what you could worry about on that one.
No, because then you worry about worrying.
You worry about worrying, you worry about someone else, and worrying about what happens in the past. Why do you think that it's important not to worry about what happened in the past?
There's a great saying that I can't remember how it goes, but it's something like you don't worry about the past, you let it go and you learn from it. So I never just completely put it in the garbage disposal. I kind of think, okay, what happened then? Okay, what can I learn from that? And how can I do it better next time? I mean, I'm obsessed with human behaviour. You know that.
I know.
None more than
right, we're the same. Yeah. That's right. But I think it's very much about mindfulness, which is so ancient, isn't it?
Yeah.
That thing of being in the present. So if we're not worrying about things we can't control, that would include the past. And
that's right.
And the future, don't worry about that so much as the present.
Yeah.
Yeah, the present moment even.
Yeah, I don't get too caught up. I think my biggest sin would be apprehension about the future.
Do you worry?
Well, I get anxious about it. You get this anxiety. Okay, now, how will this turn out? How will that? It's about as futile as being worried about the past, really, because you can't, you know, you don't really have a control over what's going to happen. You can steer things, but, you know, just living in that present, which gets back to what we were talking about. Yeah. Mindfulness of the breathing and just being mindful of the colour of those leaves. I had in one morning meditation, it said that when you go for a walk and just for 10 minutes, everything you see, hold the vision for 3 seconds.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So I'm looking at that tree out there and for 3 seconds I'm going to hold the vision rather than looking and looking and looking, especially for all those that suffer ADD. Hello. That's a great practice.
Yeah, just to pause and be there. Yeah, definitely. And to really even go into like the next thing of appreciating it while you're looking at it. And that's
and
kind of what it's all about. Yeah, that's what I think in the last few years, that real connection with the earth. Because my whole mission in life is to be grounded.
Yes.
That's got to be the greatest learning of my whole life and effort, or the thing I continue always trying to improve. And that connection with the earth. And when you start to look, there are some plants out in the backyard there. I just can't get over how exquisite they are.
Yes.
And that's my thing. I am so excited. It is November the 1st, and for the whole year I have walked almost every morning. So that was a resolution. It was a resolution I made because I don't think I moved more than 200 steps a day last year. Now that is me being really focused, but there's one on here. It was about letting go of bad habits.
Yes.
Lazy habits that hold you back. Well, no one's ever called me lazy, let me tell you, but physically, my physical self was getting neglected because I was pouring so much into Saltopia and into other things I'm doing, and it wasn't until I went on holidays and someone showed me, I'll tell you about it, the health app in your iPhone tells you how many steps you've done roughly. I nearly had a heart attack, how bad I was.
Oh, because you did so few.
So few. So this year, and what I do when I'm out doing these walks is appreciate the water and the trees, and I come back feeling like I've run a marathon. It's amazing.
What about walking meditation? Have you tried it?
Yes, I did. So I did that at Billabong, like you did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And that's the first time I tried it. And that's where you're kind of, how would you describe it?
Where you are totally engrossed in the moment, and you can't even think about anything else because you're thinking about every single sinew of your foot connecting with the ground, talking about you being groundedness.
Yes.
Or grounded.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing.
It is, because when you focus, a bit like when you go fishing, when you can focus on something other than what happened yesterday, what's going to happen tomorrow, and you start thinking about that, then you become very grounded, because you just wipe all the other chatter. You just turn the channels off in your head.
Because the chatter's all the comparison, isn't it? We'll be going back through.
And all the what ifs and what should I and... Yeah.
Do you know, I had a situation in a job years ago. It must be, maybe a dozen years ago or something like that. And I saw a counsellor about it. I think I wanted a massage, but she didn't really do that. And it turned out to be counselling, which was fine. And after a few sessions with her, she said to me, I think she totally worked me out. And she was like, I've got a joke for you. And the joke was, there were these people, they were all racing through life, and one of them in particular was always the first to get everything done, did everything and was the first to get it all done. And then his life ended and the rest of the group gathered around the headstone, and it said on the headstone, I won. First one to die. And it just made me laugh so much, because I thought, shit, am I on that path? Is that what she was, telling me? She was very Buddhist. She was very, what she told me was to be mindful just in the simple act of making a cup of tea.
Yes, of the pouring the water into the cup, and I mean, it's an art, and it's like anything. It's like that we've developed these new pathways in our brain that once they say, what have you got to do it for 28 days, and it becomes a habit. Yeah. And I think it's just about that. I think it's just about disciplining yourself. Like you now walk every day.
Yeah.
I swim every day.
Yes.
Not because I get up and think, well, I swim today. It's because that's just what I do. I make the bed, I have a swim.
And what benefit for you?
Of being mindful, so that, you're going to say to yourself, okay, for every night for this month, I am going to be really mindful when I cut the vegetables. How boring, but... You know what I mean? Just getting into the habit.
Well, this is the thing. So make sure you comment below what new habits you might have been thinking of introducing, or things you're letting go of. And that thing of the vegetables, oh my goodness. I can't remember if I was doing my own cards or I came through in a reading. I can't remember where I got it from, but it said about the simple acts, or the guidance was to appreciate simple things, and it was about cooking. And I thought, here I am. I've had all these misconceptions in life about cooking. So I thought that my mum loved cooking because she did it every day. Hello. And so I've kind of had this grudge about having to cook every day, and I'm always very healthy, but not enjoying the process. I would try and get it done as fast as I can. So I've changed now.
Yeah, and like I said, and they haven't got to be monumental things. It hasn't got to be that you're going to walk Everest or do anything like that, or go and do 300 steps a minute.
Yeah.
It's the really simple things. And if we start, I learnt with the life coaching, when you start with a really small change, then you get the energy. It's like if I said today I'm going to go home and clear out the whole garage. I'd go, gee, that sounds fun. You know what, I put it off till tomorrow and tomorrow. But if I said to you, I'm going to go home and clean out one box, I might do it. But when I've done that one, I'm going to get enthusiastic about doing the next one, because you break it down into those little sort of chunky bite-sized pieces.
And what do you think people can do when they're setting goals and they fail?
I always look at that goals are like a living, what do you call it?
Organism?
Yeah, they're a work in progress, or they're organic, so that you make a goal and you draw up a goal with all the, the guidelines when you set a goal, and then if it's not happening, you stop and you say, okay, I'm not going to keep bashing my head against the wall of this goal. What do I need to change? Has my life changed in a week, in 3 days, that my goal is now different? So I think my kind of thoughts on that, I don't just give up about having a goal. Look at how relevant the goal is that day, and maybe just change it.
Yeah.
Change the expectation of the goal.
How can you change your expectations? Because, when, it's not about perfectionism, but, when you really want to try and it means a lot to you, and you're in your comparison head and all these things, and you think, I'm going to run, for an example, 10Ks in 30 minutes or whatever, and then you realise that your arthritis or your plantar fasciitis or all these other reasons, it's not realistic to do it.
But that's
how can you cope?
That's about setting a realistic goal, isn't it? You're setting yourself up for failure. If I said to you, well, gee, I would love to, be 15 kilos less, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a mile every day. And after the second day, I think I'm such a failure, I can't even run up the stairs.
Yep.
I'm not setting a realistic goal. And if I set maybe a smaller goal,
yes,
then maybe I can build up to that 1 kilometre a day. But I think you've just got to be, like when you're setting the goal, it's got to be realistic.
And how can we, opposite of setting goals, how can we let go of things? How
What do you want to let go of, love?
Well, so we've got things like the need to be in control of everything. This is only number 2 on the list. The need to be in control.
You girls got all night.
So what do we do when we need to be in control? How do you stop wanting to be in control all the time? I think I heard Dr. Phil talk about this once.
Did he? Well, my mantra in that has been since I had, teenagers. I was a single mum of those 5 children most of the time, and with a man in a wheelchair just on the side. And I can remember thinking, oh my God, where is she? And I used to, because I sort of chose to be religious on that day, I used to say, let go and let God. I can't control this, let go. And it was such a relief, and I'll even do that now.
Oh,
with
I do
the
it all the time.
and with my children
I live that
now.
way,
And my children are, your age. And I will say, no, you know what? Let go and let God. And I say, I've done all I can. You need to take over now.
So how, when you're, this is so me speaking, when you're a person that is chasing a lot of things in life, how can you let go of feeling like you're giving up when you hand it over? When you surrender your problems to spirit like that, how do you, or you might like to call it God or spirit or whatever people want to call it, how can you feel okay about handing it over?
The problem or the goal?
Well, the obstacle that is either a problem in your life or is standing between you and the goal.
The problem that's standing between you and the goal? Give me an example. The goal is what? I mean, I have my own example of goals and problems that could sit in front of my goals.
I guess it's just if ever you're thinking, well, as a single mum would be a great example, so I want to increase in income or something like that. Hand it over to God, bring me the solution or show me where I need to be, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but God only looks after those who help themselves too.
Yeah,
you can't just lay down and,
Yeah.
that joke about how the guy keeps asking God, I'm drowning, send me a boat, send me
Yeah,
something. Yeah, and in the end he says, I sent you a boat, I sent you a helicopter. So I think that, God
So
helps
you're going to
those
take action.
Oh, absolutely.
So then a person, like I was talking about, could feel good about themselves, that they're not just surrendering and asking Spirit to fix things. They are still taking action, but they're allowing themselves to feel guided.
Yeah, and I think that, I have somebody who I know very, very well who has a goal of getting healthy. And that kind of mantra that goes with that is, let the chemo or let whatever I'm doing help me get better. So you're not just relying on a spirit or on divine intervention.
Yeah.
You're doing something about that.
Yeah.
So if that was me, I'd be saying, okay, now, yes, I'm a single mum, and it happened to me. When you were talking before about having to reinvent yourself, I had to do that when I had 5 children and I hadn't worked since I was married. And I had to absolutely reinvent myself because I hadn't worked for, however many years. And what I first did was I went out and asked people. I'd say, okay, Lee, how do you do it? What do I do? How do I get a resume? What can I do? I haven't done anything. And
That's
it's asking
amazing.
people.
And that's, what you were doing is you were allowing yourself to be vulnerable.
Yeah, and
Just
I
that I don't know what to do.
Yeah. And I didn't think that was giving up, but it wasn't laying down going, let God provide an income for my 5 children.
Yeah, no.
It was, okay, what can I do about this? And you don't know. I say it to my kids now, 2 of them are in business. If you don't know the answer, keep asking.
Yeah.
You'll find it.
And what do you think about the courage that it takes to be vulnerable? Because a lot of people don't want to admit that things aren't working out or that they need help.
Look, this is so relevant with the mental health, with domestic violence, with a whole lot of issues that are on the current platform, and that is that people are ashamed, they're embarrassed, they're frightened. You know, they're frightened that if they tell their work colleagues that they're having mental health issues, that they'll be discriminated against and fired or laid off. And people are embarrassed to say they're living in domestic violence because they think everybody will think I'm such an idiot because I'm still here. And I think we're so governed by fear, Lee.
Yeah, yep.
Fear of what people will say, fear of what people won't say. You know, we live in a lot of fear.
So how can people let go of fear? Nice segue.
Suzanne Jeffers, she's the genius on that.
So
feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah, she wrote Fear the Fear and Do It Anyway. I've never read it, so what's in that one?
Oh my God,
do you love that?
It's a great book. She's written one of her latest books, which I've got and I absolutely love. It's like about the uncertainty of embrace uncertainty.
Yeah.
I think I sent you a thing about it.
Oh.
So that when you're faced with uncertainty, to embrace it. It's only a little book. Her books are only little. They're not gigantic volumes like this. And this embracing uncertainty is absolutely brilliant. It takes all the pressure off. You know, and this is what I say when you're feeling a bit down. What do? I have about 47 self-help books on my side table.
Me too.
So whenever I'm kind of really feeling a bit low, I don't pick up, you know, a love story. I'll pick up a self-help book and I think, you know, there'll be something here that'll just lift me or give me another perspective. And that's what I mean about asking, you know.
Asking is so important, and especially with things like mental health, isn't it? To speak up. It's like, it's not always easy, definitely, when you're at your lowest.
No, and you wouldn't be speaking up to just anybody. You'd be speaking up to people that you feel you can trust, and you'll soon learn who you can and can't trust. And oftentimes it's the people closest to you that will judge you. And you just prefer not to go to them.
Yep, absolutely. We'll just see. Did you have another one that was on here that you like? So we talked about comparison, the idea of the perfect life.
Yeah, well, I think that perfect life is when we are looking over the fence at the guy next door and we're comparing ourselves, because we think that is the idea of the perfect life, where all the children are high achievers, our parenting skills are crap.
Perfect.
No, we think they're crap because we're comparing them to the woman next door whose children are high achievers. So I kind of think those three go together.
Yeah, and it's putting so much pressure on yourself. And again, it's that fear.
Yeah.
Fear of not being good enough.
Yeah.
Where does that all come from? It's just crazy.
I don't know.
When do we learn it? We learn it, like you were saying, about it's stuff that we're learning, the way that we're brought up. Because, you know, you do meet some people that just don't think like that.
No, I know. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a whole new chapter. I learned a lot about that last week.
Did you?
Yeah.
What happened last week?
I was in a session with somebody who had a really interesting perspective on how you and I might react to different situations. And like you said, not everybody's like that.
No.
When you meet people who cope so much better, you think, how come they do? How come I'm so crap at this? How come they don't put up with all this rubbish in their life and I do? Just a really interesting concept.
I think that the thing around boundaries is huge, isn't it?
Yes, and we don't always learn healthy boundaries as children, and therefore we grow up without healthy boundaries and we don't even understand that's what the problem is.
And so we were talking before we started on our video today, we were talking about being everything to everyone.
Yeah, people, not
keeping
people
them
pleasing. What was it?
Different way.
Trying to make everybody happy.
So this is one thing you can let go of right now. Trying to make everybody happy. Maria and I could talk about this all day.
Yeah, we can. I was saying to Lee, I think that I've done that all my life and I'm still really guilty of that. With my 5 children. When I was a daughter, my mother had mental illness, and I really believed that it was my responsibility to make her happy because no one else seemed to be interested. She'd have breakdown after breakdown, and I went and did psych nursing so I could help her. I thought never have another breakdown, and then I was a student. I went and studied psych nursing. That didn't work. Didn't stop her. Then I got married and my husband got sick, so I cared for him, and then having the children. And even now saying to Lee that I have to really step back from my kids because wanting them to be happy isn't healthy for them. Forget what it does to me.
Yeah.
I'm not allowing them to develop their own skills to find their own happiness and to learn how to cope by doing that.
Yeah, it's sort of it's disempowering them, isn't it? That
absolutely.
I want to just try and rearrange our screen. There we go. It's disempowering them when we want them to be happy. So we're kind of asking, are you okay? And it's not really spoiling them, but it's checking in on them a lot. And I wonder when that can make it difficult for them to say, actually, I'm not okay.
Yeah, I think that when you keep sort of asking that same, I mean, I know that there's asking, are you okay, is a very good thing, but I think that we as parents or teachers need to learn when we can step back and allow them to find out themselves how to make themselves happy. I say to my kids, I'm not going to be here all the time. So you need to learn these things. Don't ring me every time Lily gets a rash, because when I'm gone, what are you going to do? You're going to have to work out, will I go to the doctor or won't I go to the doctor? Whereas trying to make her happy, okay, now what do you think? I think you should do this, that and the other. And I think we can get caught up in, because we want everybody to be happy, we want to solve their problems. Most of the times we can. That's what makes it frustrating, but that doesn't serve them.
And so it's the same in relationships as well, other than kids.
Yeah, absolutely. You can want to keep the whole household calm, and you can want to have all the children bath and be in bed because you don't want your husband to have any stress or any aggravation, but you're not allowing him to develop his own coping skills, that when he walks in, the house is a mess, the kids are unbathed, he needs to deal with that.
Yeah.
You can't be placating all the time.
Yep. And it's a really big lesson, isn't it? Because
I find that almost excruciating painful to do it, because I want to go and rescue everybody.
Yep. But to unshackle yourself from that is, does it feel a bit irresponsible, or like...
It feels fabulous when you do it. When you consciously say, when I consciously say, would you like a sandwich? No. And let it go without going, well, I've got some fresh ham there. How about I put some tomato on? Would you like me to go and make the bread?
Because you don't really mean, would you like one? You mean, I'm making you one.
When I kind of step back and go, do you want a sandwich? No. And that's the end of it. And I haven't got to keep trying to placate or please. That is such an adult. I feel like a grown-up.
Yes. So what's this thing about us not really being grown-ups? Why aren't we being the boss in life sometimes? All women. This is not actually Maria and I counselling each other. We're talking about all women.
No, I know a lot of women that are the boss. A lot.
And what are the bosses like? So are they what people call hard asses? Or are they women with leadership skills?
I think both of us have really good leadership skills. I don't think I have very good letting other people make themselves happy skills.
Yeah, you know what, that's different. I like that. That's different.
But I definitely have leadership skills.
So, do you know, I did this presentation on imposter syndrome a couple of weeks ago now, and we talked so much about the quality that women have that make us so different and mean that companies that have women on their boards are more productive and profitable. It's no surprise about the productivity when there are women around, right?
That's true.
Is because we have the caring and connecting, or those traits. Yeah, we literally is a gene, and it is unusual to meet women that aren't a little bit that way. You know, sorry, but like, what is it? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. It's a fact that there are really strong tendencies, and that caring and connecting makes us more nurturing.
Yes, but does it make you more successful in that corporate high-end world? I mean, history tells us no, because the carers and the ones that are connected aren't necessarily climbing that ladder exceptionally hard, quickly.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting to see what happens, because when room is made for the ones that can straddle both worlds quite well, and I think that's a lot of women that can do both, but a lot of women tend to doubt themselves and think that they're going to be found out.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, I think that they're constantly, a lot of those women are constantly trying to balance the two. Yeah. You know, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know, the women are the nurturers. They're the ones that mainly have the children, and therefore that's their kind of, you know, responsibility. It's a much more shared responsibility for them, sharing the children and the work. It's just the dynamics, and I don't know that will ever change. I don't know.
And just maybe I think the way that men lead will change, in that men will allow themselves to be more emotionally intelligent, because that's been a long time coming, hasn't it? Those books are
absolutely.
old now. And
Yes.
that guys don't have to be the hard head. They don't feel that pressure anymore. I've worked for so many guys that are lovely, you know,
Yeah.
and so that's changing it in itself, definitely.
Yes, I think it is too. And I think there are a lot of emotionally alert guys. You've only got to look at the Man Up, look at the things that we've been involved in.
And you know what, Royals?
Yeah.
I'm
I'm telling you, Harry should be sitting here with me.
I know. I remember watching, it must have been Kate and William getting married, and Harry and William standing at the altar looking at each other and tears in their eyes. And I remember after that, I remember doing an email to everyone after that, talking about the wedding, and that these are the men of our future.
Yeah.
That they are... Well, those two are very aware of mental health, aren't they?
Well, they are, because they've lived it. And fortunately, they're in a position to increase that awareness exponentially. I mean, they're just awesome. They're amazing. I love them.
So when are you two getting married?
Me and Harry? I'll let you know.
As long as I get an invitation.
Absolutely, you'll be in that carriage.
You talked a bit about worried about the future, and that touches on one of the things to let go of, which is fear of the unknown. That brings up faith quite a bit, doesn't it?
Well, I think it does, and I think if you really get your handle on that, if you can go to bed at night and close your eyes and go, you know, que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. That's one of my goals.
Yeah.
Is to have that as my really living mantra.
Yep.
That it doesn't matter.
It'll
be okay.
So you want to be a Buddhist?
That'll do. I've got to shave my head.
No, well,
that could be unattractive.
They are very much like.
I would love to have a lot of.
It just is. Yeah. So if somebody dies, it just is.
Yeah.
And you can acknowledge the heart feeling. It just is.
Yes.
Everything that comes up, it just is.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have all these complicated meanings
Or judgments or expectations.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and that's it. But I think that's a great one if you could let go of that uncertainty about, and that's, I think that's in her book as well. Maybe
What's her name again?
Susan Jeffers. Where she talks about maybe no definite, so it's all about life being uncertain. So she says, instead of thinking, I wonder if my what will my date do tonight? Will he arrive? You say, maybe he will, maybe he won't.
That's right, and whatever's meant to be, kind of thing.
But this maybe he will, or maybe, like you might say, oh gee, I really hope my daughter does well at school. And then you take all the expectation of you, say, maybe she will, and maybe she won't.
But she'll be okay.
Yeah.
Either way.
It's a great book.
That's a very big Eastern kind of outlook of just letting go of control. Where did we get this control from?
Don't know.
Because it's another one on the list, and I will post the list later. It's overscheduling your life.
Yeah, I'm very good. Yeah, me too.
So I've done that, and you know, the lists used to be so long, and then it was definitely in the last decade or so stopped lists, not allowed to have lists, and that changed everything.
It does, doesn't it? I still like to have a few lists because I forget now, but I think what I do is about that overscheduling your life. If something cancels, I'll fit 6 more things in.
I know.
And that's just bad habit.
What does that go back to, do you think? Why a person would think...
I don't know whether, again, that's learnt behaviour during certain periods in your life.
I think so, yeah.
And, you know, again, I think that's just that retraining, that neuro pathway of saying, okay, you know what? For an hour every afternoon, I am going to go out on the back deck and just read the newspaper, read a book. It's just retraining that. Like I absolutely try, no such thing as try, you either do or you don't. So on a Monday, I say, no, I don't have any appointments on a Monday.
Okay.
That's just my goof off day.
Yeah. And that's an interesting time of the week because the energies of Monday is often about doing, and you're really challenging that in yourself because you would be feeling it too, it's just the energy. Fridays is the bludge day.
Yep, no, Mondays afternoon.
Yeah, that's
And I look
fantastic.
forward to that all weekend. I think, oh, Monday Richard will go to work. I'll be at home. I'll go for a late swim. I'll have 2 lattes.
Yeah.
And when people say, can you do something? I say, sorry, I'm busy Monday.
Yeah.
I never go and see my kids. I never do anything on a
Yeah.
Monday unless it's absolutely an emergency. And that's my day.
That's very
And
healthy.
I love it.
And I had to learn that I had to be taught to unlearn everything. I had to learn to start with one morning a week or whatever. And now I do something every day that's nothing. And the other thing for
That's
me,
good.
it's been hard to learn, but I can see the benefits because it makes me grounded, and that's definitely something to let go of, is that those high expectations that nobody can live up to. And you know what it is that's so missing in the way we're raised in Western normal metropolitan communities is the wisdom of the elders. And it was older women around me in my 20s and 30s that would say to me, that's just not sustainable. And I'd think, well, of course, like, she's right, but I'm not going to admit it because that would mean that I can't do it.
Yeah.
And so I delisted.
I think that we get into these, I just believe so much is learnt behaviour, because I've learnt so many bad things and it's cost me a fortune in therapy to unlearn, because I just learnt it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like when you say, how do we get so busy? Because when we've all had a crisis, and there'll be one tomorrow.
Yep.
And when we're living that crisis, like with 5 little children, or you with your kids, you had a business, then you had a whole lot of other personal stuff happening. You just did it because that's what you did.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a habit. You did it for 28 days and that was in your DNA then.
Do you know, you're so right, because I can remember when I had the young kids in the business and lost my brother, all I wanted, this is so ridiculous now that I look back, I wanted to be in bed and grieve and heave and sob for a day. Didn't happen. Didn't happen till recently. Didn't give myself permission. Didn't speak up. Didn't have the boundaries. It's so difficult when you've had a major trauma in life, and all of you watching this will have had something similar where you
get caught up.
You're crying a lot, and you're having all these emotions, and you feel like you can't ask for more, or something like that will get in the way of you having the one thing you want. To give it the time and space it needs.
And then we have to unlearn all that stuff.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of resources. You haven't got to pay a fortune like I do to go to a therapist all the time.
What would you suggest?
Reading. Just look at the books. You know, I
yeah.
go to that lovely bookshop. I love bookshops, hate books online, and I'll open them and I'll go to the page and I'll think, oh, is that resonating with me? And then I come away with a whole lot of books to add to the other 47 I've got. And you know, like I said, talking to people are going to see a counsellor where you can trust and talk about these things to be better. I always want to learn how to be better at what I do.
Definitely.
Except cooking.
Except cooking, yeah.
People go to...
Mindful is enough.
That's enough.
That's enough.
That's enough.
And what about one more? Clutter in your home and clothing you haven't worn in over a year, and anything that doesn't give you joy.
That's enough. Stop. Those two.
Three. Yeah, those three, because anything that doesn't give you joy is the Marie Kondo method of decluttering. And do you know, that's big.
Is that the woman who explains? I've got a book on that too. Is that the woman who explains that the types of clutter? So you have this clutter, clothes mainly. Oh, I can't throw that out because it was a bargain. And that's the bargain clutter. And then I can't throw that out because it was so expensive. So that's the expensive clutter. And then I can't throw that out because that was my mother's. And you have all these reasons about why you hold on to your clothes and to clutter.
So what was the solution in her book?
Oh, that you just I don't know whether that's an actual book. I will let you know what it is.
She's going to give us a review. Maria's going to post a picture in the group and then say, so the
This is the book.
This one was,
it was decluttering. And I think it was, if you haven't worn or used it in the last X amount of months, 6 months if you haven't used it, 12 months if you haven't worn it, throw it.
Do you know, I like the idea of the capsule wardrobe. It's a very fancy name for just having the basics and a lot of accessories. And you just keep shuffling through the basics, and you don't there's so much you don't need.
And don't you learn that when you go away? When I go down the snow, I take all my gear in a backpack, I can, I don't tell you, as well as Muskego, I've got a different outfit on every night for a week. Just a different scarf, or a different necklace. It's so simple,
That's it.
and you realise when you come home the crap you had.
Crap, I know. And I was watching TV a little while ago. It was Joanna Lumley in Greece.
Hilarious.
She is so great.
Yeah, isn't she brilliant?
We not
I
all
watched
be
a couple
Joanna
of
Lumley. And so she was, I think it was Greece, and she was saying that when she travels, she doesn't take any clothing. She goes to an opportunity shop and buys the clothing for the trip.
Brilliant idea.
That is just gold. So she must not take a suitcase, really.
How fantastic.
And it's supporting the local community. She pick up a few bargains
Mind you,
and
she
leave
could-
them.
She could put on a paper bag and look
Yeah,
fabulous
yeah.
though. That's the advantage she has. But yeah, no, look, and it is, and I mean, only this morning at stupid o'clock when I was getting ready, I can't stand the way there's so much crap in, I can't even get the coat hangers out.
Yeah.
And if I
You
could go
have to
home
declutter.
now and I had a clutter fairy that would and there were 7 things, I would be in heaven.
Oh, you'll have to hand it over to the big guy. And,
Well, my kids come up and they make me throw all this stuff out, and they know they've got to take it with them, because when they go, I'll be getting one thing out today, one thing back out of the bag and putting it in the wardrobe. But it's just
the things that you are attached to.
Well, no, just because they're there and I have second thoughts. I'm not really, I could
I
do
might
without
use
all
it,
of
I
it.
might
I
use
know.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you're really touching on this thing that I've reflected on so much since my most significant journey started, is that the work is never done.
Oh, on ourselves? Never.
And is that okay?
That's fantastic.
Just keep evolving.
Yeah, because you're learning, to me, I'm learning all about my children more, I'm learning about myself more, and I'm learning about how to live happily within a relationship, a little bit like, the grass is greener. Isn't there one here about the grass is greener on the
Well,
other
certainly
side?
about comparison.
Yeah, the belief that the grass is always greener on the other side. And how many people will tell you the grass is greener where you water it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So
where
you
your
look in
focus
here,
goes.
and you think, oh, I'm going to just jump that fence because look at the garden over there. Well, you go over there, that's going to die too if you don't water it. So water your own grass, and that's what I'm really focusing on. That's why I'm happy that the journey never ends, and I'm happy that the knowledge never stops. While I forever want to do it, I don't do it 24/7. Do my head in.
Yeah. So you kind of let yourself off the hook on Mondays by the sound of
Monday, no think day Monday, indulge day Monday.
And so I know that anybody watching this, you might have comments or questions, because we always do a bit of live Q&A, and we didn't really want to read through that list of things to let go of right now. But if there are any questions or comments, always comment below, let us know. And a lot of the best conversations happen after the live, definitely, especially when we do it at afternoon tea time. And some of you might be driving and listening on your way home tonight. But what we'll do is we're going to post the whole list into the comments section of the group. And if you have anything that, is a question for you, or you'd love to put forward, or something you've learnt in your own journey, we would love to hear from you. And
and things that you've let go of that you have found really helpful. Because like I said, I want to learn every day.
Yeah. What's your biggest one, do you think? Have you got a biggest overarching one about letting go? Yeah. Letting yourself off the hook of something.
Yeah, I think the one of trying to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
But twofold. One, because it's exhausting.
So bad for you, isn't it?
And you're setting yourself up for failure because you can't. But even more so because you're really taking away other people's power and inability. So there's kind of 2 reasons there for me. But I think that's probably, other than that, just being where Megan is sitting in my seat on the plane back to the palace where I belong. That's all.
Oh, definitely. There's one on the list, going small when you can go big. And for some of us, it's even a little bit the opposite, which is to stop chasing and to be happy.
Yes.
Just to be content with an ordinary life where everything's pretty good, everybody's well, everyone's taking care of themselves, everybody's happy, and we're not taking responsibility for them to be happy.
That's right.
And we're creating beautiful things in our spare time, probably not food, but other things.
That's right.
And just, you know, enjoying the journey, definitely, without all these other things that are attached to us. And this month I'm going to talk more about energetic attachments and how that kind of happens, because when things are draining you, and it's definitely what you would have been experiencing when you were pleasing everybody, and I'm a bit of an expert in my time, and it's because they're just literally hooking into those chakras, and they're feeling great.
And then you feel responsible, so you think, oh my God, he didn't like that sandwich, or I should have bought more lettuce, or I should have bought avocado to go on the sandwich. That's why it's no good. So it's kind of this constant state of anxiety and dislike of what you're able to achieve, because you feel responsible for other people's happiness.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
So wrong. So
interesting.
Have got anything else you'd like to add?
No, I want to hear what everybody else has
I
got to
know.
say now.
Well, thank you so much for being
You're welcome.
here today.
It was good. It was lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. So good to have you here in the group. So I'm sure Maria will be sharing her wisdom in the comments below. And bye for now.
Bye, girls.
Bye.
Can't wait. And guys, got the guys there?